Hello, my name is Peter Young. I want to discuss the answers to the legal assignment, environmental law assignment, and I want to discuss the good answers, but also all the variations, or the most important variations to the answers. It was an open book exam, so therefore we have examined your answers quite thoroughly, because in principle all the answers could be found in the chapter about research obligations regarding environmental aspects of spatial planning, and we also assume that the students use their brains and common sense, and we assume that they have studied the material in the book. The first question states, which environmental aspects are relevant if the municipality of Amsterdam wants to situate wind turbines on a location? 200 meters from a residential area, B, 50 meters from a highway, C, and 75 meters from a little lake where birds find food and a place to rest for a while. The good answer to the first question makes a distinction between the points A, B, and C, and you have to mention at least one environmental aspect. As in A, B, and C, you have to mention at least one environmental aspect. In relation, the wind turbines in relation to the residential area. When you think about this, you can think about several environmental aspects. You can think about the noise, light disturbance, shadows, or possibly also vibrations caused by the wind turbines. In relation to the highway, you can think of noise, but also external safety, because it possibly could happen that one of the blades of the wind turbine breaks and can damage the road. So you can also think about external safety, or maybe another environmental connection between the wind turbines and the highway. When you think about the relation between the wind turbines and the lake, there are also environmental aspects, and the most important regards nature and the Birds and Habitat Directive, because wind turbines can possibly damage birds in their flight. When you give a correct answer to A, B, and C, when all answers are correct to A, B, and C, you can score 5 points. But in practice, some students also give other answers. So when you give a good answer, it's quite simple, 5 points. But there are several other answers, and when you give these other answers, you will earn less points. So for example, when you make no clear distinction between A, B, and C, you will earn only 4 points, or -1. There was a student who mentioned zoning, and zoning is not a relevant environmental aspect. Another answer is there are no environmental aspects that needs to be taken into account, especially regarding the highway. And when I see this answer, you will earn 1.5 less points. Sometimes external safety is not mentioned at all regarding the highway, then it's -1. Another student says external safety is not relevant. then it's minus 1.5. Another student says external safety is not relevant because the highway is not a vulnerable object. That scores minus 1.5. Sometimes noise and external safety are not mentioned at all in relation to the highway, then it's minus 1.5. Another student speaks about danger instead of using the common term external safety, that is minus 0.5. And another student gives an answer regarding the highway, and the student speaks about shadow flicker, external safety. This can be annoying. To me, this answer is very unclear, especially because external safety is something completely different. So the shadow flicker and external safety are not the same issues. So when a student gives this answer, he will earn 0 points. The second question was, what would be your advice to the municipality of Amsterdam in order to improve the legal quality of the land use plan? A good answer to this question can be very simple and short. The advice is to do an environmental impact assessment that covers all relevant environmental aspects, and also to do a so-called appropriate assessment to protect the interests of nature and birds. A short abbreviation of environmental impact assessment is EIA, and the abbreviation of appropriate assessment is AA. And when this good answer is given, you will earn 5 points. But in reality, some students also think about other answers. And for example, when only environmental impact assessment or appropriate nature assessment is mentioned, but when they are not mentioned both, you will earn only 3.5 points. In some cases, environmental impact assessment and appropriate assessment are not mentioned at all, but the remaining answer is not wrong, then they can earn 2.5 points. In other cases, environmental impact assessment and appropriate assessment are not mentioned at all, but the remaining answer is very extensive and not wrong, then they get 3 points. In other cases, environmental impact assessment nor appropriate assessment are mentioned, and there remains a fake and not a legal answer, but it can be fake but not wrong, and then the student will earn 2 points. Some students give a very short answer without explanation, and if one element is mentioned very shortly without explanation, they get a discount of 1.5. 0.5 less points. Another student gives as the only answer that the research has to be EU proof. To me, that's too fake. It's too less. So that student only gets 1 point. If appropriate assessment is not mentioned, but in the answer mitigation and compensation measures are mentioned, the student will get 1 point. Some students mention the Crisis and Recovery Act, and they mention this Crisis and Recovery Act as a possibility, legal possibility, and these students get 1.5 points for this specific element of the answer. Another student gives a very vague and short answer. The only answer is do environmental research. It's too less, but the answer is a few sentences, and this student gets 0.5 points. So these were the answers to the questions, and I hope all will be clear, and I wish you all the best.